Welcome in. It's the Players Championship live chat. It is indeed presented by Jock Market. We'll talk about that more in just a second. But for the next hour or so, we're going to go through all the questions and answers, or at least as many as possible from the chat. So don't be afraid. Go ahead, drop your questions in. I'll go through as many as I can. Whatever you want. Ownership, this guy or that guy. Those aren't great questions, but that's fine. I mean, we can do whatever you want. Also, the only thing I ask, hit the like button. That's very much appreciated. That's my currency, essentially, in this moment. And also, if you are into Jock Market, if you're into playing stock market DFS, now's the time. Lots of money to be made. We are giving away free Jock Bucks tonight on the Jock Market Power Hour. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Rick Run Good YouTube channel. It is 15 minutes longer than normal because it's a big event. There's a lot to talk about. Let's not waste any more time. Let's start rolling through these questions and see what happens. Oh, also, everything you see, all the tools, rickrungood.com. Check it out. I think it's pretty good. Hey, Rick. Hope all is well. Thank you. Hope all is well. Thoughts on Xander and Webb this week? Feel like they're both flying under the radar. Yeah, I agree. So we'll pull up the projected ownership here shortly, but I've got Xander coming in around 12%. I've got Webb actually much more popular. I just ran another update to the ownership projections. Obviously, a lot of movement this week, a lot of casual fans playing, just a lot of people playing. So these have had a couple of iterations. And Webb is now up to 22.5% is what I'm seeing. So I don't think Webb is going to fly under the radar as much as maybe Xander does. Xander's kind of in this awkward position in terms of pricing because he's the bottom of the 10K range. You know, you can spend up ahead of him. There's appealing options in the 9K. And then the fact that Brooks Koepka withdrew makes that gap, because he was at 10,100, makes that gap even bigger. So I think a lot of people are just naturally avoiding Xander, and there's really no reason for that, right? I mean, the workday was his worst finish in like 18 starts or something. I mean, the guy's a top 25 machine. He's a top 10 machine. He's talented in all facets. Yeah, I've got no problem getting a significant cut of Xander Schauffele this week. Lucas says, I have a work meeting at 2. Oh, yeah, you should probably go to work. But we have to pick 2 players for the one and done this week. Any reason to save DJ for a different time down the road? Using DJ and Cantlay currently, but I thought about using JT and Colin. Listen, there's going to be a lot of really great options this week. 48 of the top 50 players in the world. What I will say is burn your studs. Right? I mean, it's $2.7 million to the winner, which if you go back to like an invitational like Riviera, that would basically be first and second place money. So you should be using your studs here. So if you like DJ, that's fine. You know, I think most will opt to use DJ at Augusta. I think that's what is likely to happen. So I have no problem using him here. And others will say, hey, what about a no-cut event where you're guaranteed money? The problem with no-cut events and being guaranteed money is everyone's guaranteed money. It's not like, yes, you remove a bit of the volatility, but I want a week where someone is 15 or 20% owned and misses the cut and my guy wins. Like, that's how you move up some of these larger boards here. So that's my philosophy. Let me know what you end up with. John Jefferson, welcome. Says, best part of my week. Mine too. Someone asked me, what's your favorite part of the week? This hour right here is probably my favorite. Who's your favorite play from the stars and from the scrubs? So, all right, let's do this. Let's do the cheat sheet. RickRunGood.com. Here's the cheat sheet. Just one of the tools available on my site. So as far as studs go, I don't know how far you want me to go down. Obviously, the pricing coming out early on DraftKings is significant. If you compare the pricing from DraftKings to FanDuel, which FanDuel came out on Monday like it normally does. DraftKings came out a couple days early. You know, Bryson is such a clear-cut value because if pricing would have came out on Monday like it normally does after his Arnold Palmer Invitational victory, he's probably $1,000 more expensive. So I don't know if he counts as far as studs, but I'm really focused in on Justin Thomas. But if you made me pick someone over 10K, it's probably DJ. Right? I mean, how rare is it that the number one player in the world comes in flying under the radar? He finished 54th at the workday, lost 10 strokes putting. It's not going to happen again. I like where DJ's at in this week. And then as far as scrubs go, how scrubby do you want? You know, I'm kind of on record being like, the scrubbiest I'd probably go is Johnny Vegas at 6,300. finished second at the Puerto Rico Open, finished third here in 2019, which is the last time we played this in full. And if you pull up his golfer profile real quick, I love this part of Johnny Vegas's game off the tee right here. He is an elite off the tee player. He's sixth this season, gaining nearly 3/4 of a shot. The rest of his game, yeah, it's a bit hairy, but that's what you get when it's $6,300. I think that's just fine. How do you think Berger might do with greens overseeded with POA and bent cheesesteak tacos rule? And then Jeffrey says, what is a cheesesteak taco? So real quick, a cheesesteak taco. So what you do is you go get a cheesesteak, preferably on South Street in Philadelphia from Jim's, and you walk across the street and you get a slice of pizza, and you take the slice and you wrap it around the cheesesteak, and now it's like a cheesesteak taco, and you eat it like that. It's something special. You got to be, that's like a 2 a.m. That's like a 2 a.m. deal. But anyway, so this is actually a really good point from Chuck, because this event, TPC Sawgrass, it's been played historically in May, and this is going to be the second year that it's played in March. So of course, for the vast majority of the year, these are like Bermuda grass greens, but this is the time of year that they overseed with bent and POA. So they're not true Bermuda grass green. So this question is in regards to Daniel Berger. So I'll pull him up on the Holy Grail. And this is what I love so much about the Holy Grail. We can just look at his bent / POA numbers, right? That mix. So here he is normally for all of his rounds. He is a small gainer, a small positive. Hold on. Let me get this question out of here. A small positive in terms of strokes gained putting, 0.16. So if we just change this to see what he does on the bent / POA mix, he's much, much better, about a half a stroke better putting on that surface, or that hybrid of surface, in the 34 measured rounds that I have on him. So yeah, being a Florida guy, getting a better surface than probably most are going to anticipate. It's really sharp, Chuck. I appreciate you bringing it up and giving us a chance to talk about that, and then talk about a cheesesteak taco, because that's always something good too. Lonto, Burns, or Answer, any ownership leans on those three? I'm pretty bullish on Sam Burns. We can go back. How do I want to do this? Let's go to, so we'll stay here in the Holy Grail, and we'll look up Sam Burns by round. And let's see what we have here. Not bent POA. I just want all of his rounds here. This guy is very volatile and has a ton of upside. So this is since the start of 2021, essentially, or actually we can even go back even further. Here, since the start of 2021, the amount of times he's gained 5 or 6 strokes on the field is elite level stuff, Brady. Like when I checked this out a couple of weeks ago, the only guys who were gaining as much as he was were, it was like JT, Xander, I think Finau might have been in that mix. It's just like he has a huge ceiling. He has a very low floor as well, and we've seen that at times. I think this is a really good spot to go back to him. I think Sawgrass sets up better than Bay Hill did. It's not great, but I think it's better, and he's a birdie maker. So I'd probably give a lean to Sam Burns in that situation. Okay, so I have to go to Nacho Daddy now that I'm in Vegas. Yeah, so I'm so hungry right now. That just makes me want nachos so bad, Denver Timmy. So thank you. We'll add it to the list. What does ownership look like for Poulter, Kirk, and Cam Davis? All right, well, let's just pull it up. So again, these ownership projections are probably only like an hour old. I just reran them. So who are they? Who am I looking for? Poulter, Kirk, and Cam Davis. Maybe I should just sort by name. So Chris Kirk, I have at 13%. That's actually pretty, that's much more than I thought it was going to be. Ian Poulter, I have at less than 1%. Oh, sorry. I was reading the wrong line. 4%, 3.5%. And then Cam Davis, I have at 2.6. I like that a lot. Cam Davis, if you've been watching these shows over the course of the year, just raw talent. We can pull up his golfer profile here. I think you're going to be pretty impressed with some of the ranks that he has on tour this season. So here's Cam Davis. First of all, this is elite level ball striking. A half a stroke on approach, a half a stroke off the tee. That is 17th off the tee and 36th on approach. Big time birdie maker, 25th in birdie average. If we go to birdie or better percentage, he might be even better than 25th. Yeah, he's 19th. So I mean, he's a legit scorer. What's he do on par fives? Not as well on par fives. That's a little bit shocking. He's 48th, still better than he's still in the top 25, but 25%. But I would have thought that he would be better in that category. Any sub $7,500 guys that have grown on you throughout the week and why? Hank Hill's back in the chat. Thanks for coming in, Hank Hill. I mentioned Vegas. That's a real dart throw, right? If you're talking about 7,500 or below, I mentioned Burns already. I think that's fair. Where's Matthew Neesmith? Let's look at Neesmith real quick. So he's 6,700. This is a guy who has a skill set that I really like, which is the strokes gained approach numbers. And he missed the cut last week, but he gained 2.5 strokes on approach. That was great. And he lost 4 strokes putting. That's probably not going to happen again. So I'm willing to go back to a Neesmith here in this spot as well. Thanks, Hank. Clark wants to know, hey, Rick, first year playing in a one and done. How much thought do you give to someone for saving someone for the tour championship, given the idea that the prize pool is so large? Okay. You have to confirm this, Clark. Are you using the bonuses for your pool? Because many pools will either omit the tour championship or they will assign a percentage of the prize pools. Because think about it. You don't want the entire season coming down to the guy who gets the $15 million bonus in a 30-man field deciding the entire one and done pool because, you guys are at $10 million for the first 49 events, and then the winner is going to get $15 million for the final event. So I would confirm if your one and done league is actually doing that, you should 100% be trying to figure out who is going to lead in FedEx Cup points at the end, because he's also going to get a staggered start. He's going to get a 2-shot lead. Let's say Dustin Johnson starts at 10 under par at East Lake, like massive advantage. And if he doesn't win it, he probably finishes second or third and gets you a lot of money anyway. Confirm that. I would say I'd be very surprised. I don't know who's running your league or anything like that, but I'd be very surprised if the tour championship is either included or they're using the full bonus points. Evan, good to see you in the chat. DraftKings 2 versus 2. Neiman and Kisner or Lanto and Zalatoris. For me, it's Lanto and Zalatoris. The two things I always think about Lanto, and he continues to play well, is at least in terms of upside, the two skill sets that he has is approach and putting. And when those things go right, you can go really low. Zalatoris is a maniac. He is unbelievable. It's almost like he's a top 25 machine every week, no matter what tour, for the last 18 months. And the game is so good. So I'd have to go that way. Nothing against, I'm not a huge fan of Kisner this week. I think he's fine. And then Neiman, I'm kind of just warm on. The other two, I think I like Lanto and Zalatoris better than both those other guys. I need a one and done this week for this big purse. Who is a lock this week? Well, first of all, no one's a lock, right? The volatility at TPC Sawgrass is pretty significant. It is Florida golf. So you get, water lurking. It's very easy to make a big number. Your scores can add up very quickly. So no one is a lock, but I mean, Jon Rahm, right? Jon Rahm has shown ceiling. He has shown floor. I almost prefer him in some harder situations like Olympia Fields or Muirfield Village, like we've seen him win last year. But why not Jon Rahm? If you're willing to just go and get a stud and try to just go for floor, it might be the Rahmster. This week, a total dart throw across seems no rhyme or reason. Yeah, I mean, that's not a question, but yes, it is a very volatile week. We have some weeks where Augusta National, very consistent year in and year out. Some of these other kind of, I don't want to call them quirkier places, but like TPC River Highlands or RBC Heritage. There's a style of golfer. Think about the winners here. Rory, Webb, Siwoo, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler. Is there really a lot of thread between those guys? I don't think so. So yes, it is a pretty volatile week. Embrace it. Grant wants to know, who do you like more, Daniel Berger or Sungjae Im? Wow. Tight. Really tight. Probably still Berger, but I'm a huge Sungjae fan, but it's probably still Berger. Shlomo wants to know, what are your thoughts on first-timers at Sawgrass? Any stats to highlight how first-timers have performed historically? I'd have to go back and pull it. Not handy. I'd have to go back and pull this. And also, are you going to count? Remember that some of these guys who are technically in their first start played one round last year. Morikawa, Hovland, I think Scotty Scheffler was also in the field last year. I have the data. So like, if you go to rickrungood.com and you go to the Holy Grail and you go rounds by rounds for the 2020 Players Championship, you will see all of the one round stuff in here, right? So Hideki was in first after rounds one. Wow. Colin Morikawa played well. Victor Hovland played well. He was in seventh. Did Scotty Scheffler play last year? I'm just scrolling through looking for his name. I don't see it. I might have just overlooked it, but keep that in mind. So first timers might not necessarily be first timers. Oh, he did. He was in seventh. Yeah. So all those young guys played well last year. So you can check that out on the site as well. Thoughts on Brendan Steele? I'm always kind of a big Brendan Steele fan, right? He's a great ball striker. He's very cheap. He's been making a bunch of cuts. He played well at Sony. He probably should have won there. Yeah. I'm always a big Brendan Steele guy. Real quick, let me tell you about Jock Market. Jock Market is, I've described it as basically fantasy, like the future of fantasy sports, which is stock market, right? Like stock market DFS, you can buy and sell shares of golfers over the, before the event starts. So tonight at IPO, that's what we're doing for the Power Hour tonight. We're going to go through the IPO phase. You can bid on golfers then, and then you can buy and sell these golfers over the course of a week. And it's awesome. And there's a lot of money to be made. It's getting much more liquid. I know that was a concern for some people a couple of weeks ago where it was like, not a lot of trading necessarily during the event. That's getting better and better and better. We're getting the metrics, or at least, the guys over at Jock Market are telling us that they're having great in-game trading weeks, which is always good to hear. And then some of the, it's certainly a different strategy, but you look at what happened last week. Bryson on Wednesday night, his IPO price was $9.88. Well, because he won the tournament, his final payout was $25 a share. So however many shares you had of Bryson, you made $15 a share. Lee Westwood was even bigger, right? He went from $2.52 on Wednesday night to $19.99. Actually, it's probably $20. I might have refreshed this a hair early. And gained you $17 a share. So, I mean, it's really big time stuff. And you don't need a lot of money to start. So I really enjoy it. Joe Idonia and myself are doing the Power Hour tonight, and we're giving away $100 in Jock Bucks. So join us for that. It'll be a ton of fun. Let's look at Tommy Fleetwood, because Tommy Fleetwood is the guy that we need to talk about. I was pretty pessimistic on Fleetwood last week, and I think it was warranted, but he played well. So here's we're going to pull him up real quick. So strokes gained by tournament. We'll do Fleetwood. Did I spell his name right? Oh, I'm in the tournament. I do that every single time. I should move that. I should move golfers to the middle because I click that every single time. All right, so here we go. So I was pretty pessimistic about Tommy Fleetwood because of this, just how bad his ball striking had been on the PGA Tour in all of the measured events that we've had. Now, he was better. That was his best ball. I shouldn't say ball striking. His best approach week at the API since last year's API. Maybe that's just a place that sets up well for him. Actually, now I'm more concerned about it, Dan. Now I'm more concerned that he just has a good feel and it fits his eye at Bay Hill. Oh boy. If you look at what he did to players last year, lost 2.5 strokes off the tee, 3.7 in that one round alone. That was pretty ugly. So actually I was going to tell you that I was growing warm on him. I'm nervous that maybe just Bay Hill fits his eye and we get back to a worse ball striking version of Tommy Fleetwood. Sorry about that. I don't know what answer you were looking for. Kevin, thank you for the super chat. You're always very generous. Much appreciated. He says the truth is in your tools. Didn't have a chance to check them out last week, and my 6 of 6 core became an 0 of 6 after Friday. Kids, remember to use the tools. Yeah, and actually, so Kevin, much appreciated. You are the man, and we're trying to constantly expand the tools, right? Try to make them better. I build in visualizations so that I can kind of do fun things on the fly, right? I don't hard code a lot of things because I can't. And also because it would, I think, remove some of my flexibility. And if you guys are in the Slack, if you saw in the Slack, I released a beta version of the lineup builder. So just while we're here, while we're talking about it, I'll give you a glance at it. Maybe we can run some through later. But the new version of the lineup builder that's going to be on rickrungood.com. It lets you do your custom weights, it's basically your custom model, and then it turns into a lineup optimizer, and you can actually use the results of your custom model. You can say, hey, use this max projected ownership, use all this stuff, and it'll pump it out. So maybe we'll do one of those a little bit later, but I appreciate the support, and I appreciate that you guys are noticing that, I'm trying to make as many updates to the site as possible. And Kevin, thanks again. Much appreciated. Let's see where we're at. Got to get back to my spot. Hey, could you sort the golfers by projected ownership so we can see highest in projected ownership? Yeah, normally if I'd be like, just go sign up for the site. You can do this all you want, but it's all good. Let's just do it together. So I have Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas, Webb Simpson, Rory McIlroy all coming in over 20%. I have Tony Finau and Dustin Johnson right behind at 19. Some of the value plays that are coming in on the higher end would be Joaquin Niemann. I have him as the highest projected golfer under $8,000. Chris Kirk is also there. Abraham Answer under 8,000. Corey Connors, Sergio Garcia. Those are some of the names that I think are going to be more popular. Any idea why Morikawa is much lower than other elite golfers in your win simulation odds this week? Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the tournament simulation. There's recent form, there's upside, there is floor as well. So you have ceiling, you have floor, you have course history. Morikawa, I just think, and I think this is by design, he has gotten a bit more volatile over the course of the last, 6 months or so. And you're seeing more wins, but you're seeing more missed cuts. I think why he's coming in a little bit lower than some of my other golfers, elite golfers in those simulations is sample size stuff. I really try not to give I think what he's doing right now is amazing. 4 wins and 41 starts, but I really try to give guys with a larger sample size a bit more credence and just an idea that maybe Morikawa is a bit smaller than everybody else's. That's my hunch on why he comes in a little bit lower. Scott with the super chat as well, much appreciated. You're not unnoticed, always being in the chat and seeing you on Twitter and all that stuff. So it's much appreciated. And thank you for the support. Let's go into, I lose my spot here very quickly. Sorry about that. Greg says, good afternoon, golf fans. Smash the like button. Yeah, go ahead. You don't have to smash it. Just hit it a little bit for me. That would be much appreciated. Who are some of the chalk that you're completely fading this week? What's up, TJ? Good to see you. I think that I will be, I think maybe Finau. It's nothing against him. I just think you have to draw a line somewhere. And I think the guys in the $9,000 range, it's incredibly stacked. Then you get into the 8K range, and I think that there's some value there. And just the way that I was building, Finau didn't end up being the guy. It's really nothing against him. It was just kind of the way the builds go. We've got 48 of the top 50 players in the world. It's going to be stacked. Do you believe it is imperative to max enter tournaments, or can there be value in entering only one lineup? Depends on what your goals are, right? I mean, listen, just be clear. You're at a complete disadvantage if you're not max entering a contest. And that does not mean that I'm not sitting here saying, go enter 150 lineups. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying play single entries, play 3 maxes, play 20 maxes if you can. It's hard enough to make a top tier lineup that's going to win GPPs. To do that and also have 1/10 of the lineups that everybody else does or that some other people do, it becomes very difficult. So, of course, anything is possible, especially in golf, where you can throw out a volatile. I mean, I tweet out the optimal lineups every single week, and how often are they $48,000, $48,500? Very often. So, I would say in golf it's better, but highly recommend you max it up. Can we do a deeper dive on Poston? Sure. Yeah, that's a name we have not talked about often. So let's just deep dive JT Poston here. See what happens. So, oh boy, pretty ugly stuff. This would be very concerning if I was a JT Poston backer. So, 4 of his last 5, he's lost strokes on approach. 5 of his last 6, he's lost strokes in ball striking. Those troubles go back to the restart. He's been pretty awful since then, and he's relying on this right here. It's the putter, and it's not really turning into. I mean, for him to go out and gain 9 strokes putting at the Farmers which is only 3 measured rounds, and only finish 18th, that's silly, right? Like, even gaining 4.4 putting and to finish 11th, like if you're gaining that many strokes putting, you should be winning. You should be finishing like second or third. I'd be really concerned about the upside being capped on JT Poston just because the rest of his game is so poor. Who's ready for the tournament to start tomorrow? Me. I am. I've got an alarm set. It's going to be ugly, right? Because they're going to tee off at like 7 Eastern. So that's 4 Pacific. It's going to be tough. Do you think there's any red flags on Berger? No, I think it's a stacked field. 48 of the top 50. There's going to be really, really good golfers who are overlooked this week just because of the natural kind of selection in where the salaries are. I've answered some of these, so I'm gonna keep rolling. You know what? I've come around on Matthew Fitzpatrick a lot, Oliver. He just puts the ball in the cup, which I know is so stupid to say, but he does, and he's actually much more well-rounded than we've probably seen from him before. So let me pull him up here. So Matthew Fitzpatrick. Here's his golfer profile page on RickRunGood.com. Look at this. I love this. Gain strokes in all 4 major categories this season. I love it. He is still a hair reliant on putting, but not nearly as much as he used to be. These are really good metrics, Oliver. I'm growing pretty steady on Fitzpatrick over the course of this season and the last couple of weeks in particular. Like button will be smashed. Much appreciated. 17th hole reminds me of Kanye. It's weird and sort of dumb, but I can't help but like it. Thank you, Biggie Balls. Much appreciated. Also, I believe this is the 24th anniversary of Biggie's death. How about that? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's true. Thanks for hopping in, Biggie Balls. Hope you brought your guac. What's the best play to see ownership for DFS? How would I be able to find this tool? JB, we should go on like a road show together. You just set me up for that one. RickRunGood.com. Go to RickRunGood.com. I've got ownership projections. And also what I've been doing, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, I've been compiling more data. You know, sometimes I just do this and I don't make an announcement like, oh, go into a golfer profile page and see what their ownership has been in the last couple of weeks. For example, Matthew Fitzpatrick was 8.9 at Riviera. He was 7.7 at the workday. He was 16.1 at the API. I'm starting to compile more data. You see it pop up all the time. Just keep everything, keep your eyes open out there. Rick, how do you feel about the big game hunter and one and done this week? Ready to take down a stacked field or too many cameras to pick up extra strokes. So Kevin, I'm assuming you're talking about Patrick Reed. Yeah, listen, he shows up in big time events. He does. And he is very, very streaky. I find him to be one of the more difficult golfers to predict because, you know, when he gets going with his long irons, he's unstoppable. When he gets going with a putter, he's unstoppable. There's not a lot of foreshadowing in his game, but yeah, I mean, listen, it's a big time spot and he's a big game hunter. With this many players in the field, chances of duplicated lineups are a little bit lower, right? Would you rather leave money on the table or pivot? I don't know about that. I actually think that maybe. Actually, Milton, maybe. I was going to say, because the pricing is softer, it would allow people would make the same lineups, but not really because you can make any lineup that you want. The weeks that we get a lot of duplicated lineups are the weeks where it's like, everybody's going to play this guy at 10-1. Everybody's going to play this guy at 8-9. Everybody's going to play this guy at 7-3. And then we get a bunch of duplicated lineups. So I think I agree with you, Milton. I don't have any interest. I don't have any reason to back that up. Michael asked about Sam Burns. I like him. I talked about him earlier, so I'm going to move on. We're getting into the point where I've answered some of these questions, but I like him. One and done just started. So who do you like with everyone available? Wow. DJ, just do it. Don't be afraid. I'm in love with, let me pronounce this one. I'm getting better on this one. I believe it is Christian, because there's a second A. Christian Bezadenhot. Hot. Bezadenhot. I'm a little bit concerned about it. So here's what I like about the guy. Won twice on the Euro Tour, played well last week, and was in second here last year during the shutdown. Here's the big problem with the old Bez Meister. Let me see if I can pull this up. Yes, I can. Here's the live leaderboard still from last week. gained 6.5 strokes putting, gained 4 around the green. He was a loser off the tee and approach. For him to finish 7th was, I think, a very, very narrow path, Andrew. I would be concerned that he'd be able to do that again. I like the guy. I like him a lot. I'm concerned about what he saw last week. Who is the Oliver Bark play of the week? He usually does bark when I talk about somebody. I haven't heard him bark yet, but I assume that under 8K, he likes, I was going to make a dog pun. I can't turn any of these names into dog puns. I was going to try to. Mark Leishman? Leash? Get it, Greg? See what I did? I don't actually like Leishman, but that's who Oliver would like. Are you playing in the $200 single entry? Yes. Oh my God. I had a sweat last week. I think I ended up finishing 20th last week. I think I was winning it on Friday night, and I knew I was in trouble. It was relying on Danny Lee, and it was relying on Zach Johnson to do something on the weekend. They didn't. I'll spare you the bad beat stories. I would say yes, I'm taking a stars and scrubs approach. Favorite player's memory. The better than most putt is clear. Kuchar backhanding it on 17 was pretty good. Brooks made an albatross on, I think, 15, but really, I think a lot about Jon Rahm on 11 in the bunker on Sunday in contention, brushing his caddy off to try to go for it over the water. I think about that a lot. And I love that we had the mics on it. It was amazing. What part of the country serves your favorite pizza? I guess technically New York, right? That foldable style. However, I've come around a lot on Chicago. Don't destroy me for that. But grandma pizza is great, right? That's like your little, it's almost like Detroit, but like a little bit less. I think it's from, I want to say like Long Island is where that originated, but grandma style is pretty good. Scheffler seems to always find his way in the optimal lineups. Thoughts on him? I like him a lot. He played well here last year. And I think he's flying a bit under the radar than I think. Rick RunGood, thanks on everything. Thanks for everything. No, thank you, Frankie. Thoughts on Russell Henley? Yeah, so Russell Henley, broad strokes, I really like because he's a great ball striker. He's one of the best approach players on tour. He's been horrible at TPC Sawgrass. Now, if you go back to my comments earlier that like this is kind of a volatile week, I don't know how long you can say like if you've played here 3 times and it's been kind of all over the place, that's one thing. If you've played here as many times as Russell Henley or like Paul Casey have, and you don't have success, I'm really kind of worried about that. So I will be cautiously optimistic for Russell Henley this week. Hey, Jamie, good to see you. Who do you see having a significant increase or decrease in actual ownership when it's all said and done? Yeah, that's a good question because sometimes I look at these ownership numbers and I'm like, that can't be true. I would think that I believe Hideki is going to come in more than what people want to give him credit for. So I have him around 12% right now. If you made me guess, I think it's over that because he almost gets credit for being the champion last year. His ball striking is starting to come around. I think people want to play him. I would take that guess, Jamie. Good to see you. Isaiah, first of all, thank you very much for the super chat. It's much appreciated. I'm leaving $4,000 on the table in a lot of lineups. Is it too much? Also ordered one of your Rick RunGood shirts. Good quality, good stuff. Thanks, man. That's my wife does a lot of the apparel stuff, and she's doing a killer job. So props to her. 4,000's close. I will say this, if you've seen me tweet out a lot of the optimals, often $2,000, $3,000 being left on the table is fine. A week like this where it is incredibly volatile and we've seen some guys really get, like Johnny Vegas 2 years ago, see these guys pop up, Siwoo Kim winning this event. It does elicit a bit of volatility. So I think 4,000 is pushing it, but I don't mind it too bad. Yeah, so this is interesting, Mark. So 8,400 and up is Hovland. How is Hovland the lowest owned? Yeah, so this is interesting. Hovland, who was one of the most popular players last week, in contention through 2 rounds, just falls apart on the weekends, and now his ownership bottoms out. This guy has been one of the best players on tour for the last couple of months. I really like a leverage spot for Hovland for sure. Tyler wants to know what my favorite number is. Not like my favorite number, like literally just asking my favorite number out of all numbers. 7. I played baseball in college. I wore 7. I've also worn 13, which I know is an unlucky number, but I don't mind that at all. Yeah, let's say 7. Love your call on Spieth saying most of the misses. Yeah. So the thing with Spieth at Bay Hill last week was I think I said his saving grace would be he misses right. And at Bay Hill, if you miss left, you're in big trouble. That's where the water is. If you miss right, you gotta go through hard work. Any golden nuggets like that this week? Let me think about it. I'll come back to it. I'm a new subscriber to the site. I recommend it. Thank you very much. Is there any particular ownership range you look for in a single entry GPP? As much as I'd love to endorse Doc, and we can pull up Doc's numbers here, he hasn't been good. And I know he'd be the first to tell us that. And we don't have the problem with Doc is we also don't have like a big enough sample size to see, hey, is he going to be able to turn it around? Is he going, is a flip just going to switch for him? Or is he going to build, 5 events in a row and then kind of get back to this form that we saw in 2020? But I mean, these ball striking numbers aren't great. The optimist in me sees that he gained strokes putting at Bay Hill last week. And that to me is like, okay, he was hemorrhaging strokes on the greens. He's still not as good in terms of ball striking as he was in 2020, but he at least plugged one leak. Can he plug another? I hope so. I hope to see him find success this week, but I'm very much being cautious about this. Lorenzo's. That's the name of the pizza place that I was looking for, right? I'm pretty sure that's what this comment is about. You go to Jim's, you get a steak. You go to Lorenzo's, you get a slice of pizza. I'm pretty sure that's the pizza place name I was looking for. How much does Pete Dye courses matter this week? Listen, I would say for the most part, the architect stuff doesn't matter, but there are a lot of similarities in Pete Dye courses. And I hear players talk about that a lot. So they think there's a thing to it. That's why I have it on the site, right? That I give you the option to choose what architect because some guys like it more than others. I think a lot of it is, especially for the Pete Dye stuff, at least because he has so many courses, we have a lot of data on it. And a lot of them have been staples on the PGA Tour for a while. So we've got guys who've played 30, 40, 50 rounds on Pete Dye courses. It's not always the case for that. So I am very cautious when I use architect history. Yeah, here it is. It's Jim's and a Lorenzo slice, a giant slice. Thank you. I knew somebody was going to come through in the chat. Thank you very much. I do like Morikawa this week. Listen, Chris, Morikawa's game plays everywhere. Let me tell you that, right? He's the best ball striker maybe on the planet. It's all about the putter if he can roll that. But yes, it is. He's phenomenal. And Webb's great too. But Morikawa's game goes everywhere. Yeah, you guys are like, I'm starving now. You guys are killing me with this cheesesteak pizza talk. Why are the miscut odds so soft in this market? It seems like books are asking to get burned by prices of the top guys. I've not seen the miss the cut numbers, CLU, but I'll take your word for it. I have more than a funny feeling about JT this week. I've been very adamant about that. Let's look up JT because I think this is worth a minute, and we are a while into the show and we haven't talked about the number 3 player in the world yet, which is kind of crazy. So let's just do it here. All right, here's what I see. This column right here, the approach game. You got to love it, right? That's JT's bread and butter. That is what separates him from a lot of everybody else on the PGA Tour. And to see him gain 9.5 strokes on approach at the workday is excellent. The other thing that I'm noticing is now in 4 of his last 5 measured starts, he's gained strokes putting. Now, one of them was terrible at Riviera. It happens. But that's a good sign, right? That's the blueprint for JT is right here. The workday blueprint, gain 9 strokes on approach, be a 0 putter. He's got to lose this, right? Which is the off the tee game. He's got to figure that out. Now, I know he's been working hard on 3 woods off the tee. He's been working hard on driver off the tee. You don't have to hit driver every hole at Sawgrass. In fact, you can lay back quite a bit. And that was his worst off the tee performance in my database. So this is the blueprint, Anthony. I agree with you. I got a funny little feeling. He's setting us up for this. He's lurking. It feels like it's coming. Just put in my JT outright. Yeah. So round one stuff is kind of throwing darts. What you could do, I think I have this handy. So first of all, I will say it's a lot of throwing darts. Do I have this here? I think I do. I'm just going to show you. So this is the course key stats tool. I think I have scoring by round in here. Yeah, I do. So you could go to round one scoring and you can see guys that historically play well. I tend to stay away from the studs because you don't get great odds on them, right? So I probably wouldn't bet Cantlay. Maybe Reed, I'd see what that number is. But some guys really like Russell Henley, Cameron Tringale, Sam Burns, Ryan Palmer, Jason Kokrak. These are guys that tend to play well in round one. Also, depending on where we're at and how big the field is, like generally, I think, 55% of the first round leaders come from the morning wave, which makes more sense. You get usually better scoring conditions in the morning. So it's very much of a dart throw, but you can try to find a few edges over time. Palmer's almost always a sleeper, Dan. He's just always under-owned. He's one of the best median fantasy players on the tour. Love it. I've answered a lot of these, which is good. I've never heard you discuss. Oh my God, I misread that, Kevin. I was about to just lose it. I thought I read, I've never heard you discuss DK contests. And I was like, what are we talking about? Like, what's all we talk about? Kevin, sorry, I misread that. Tier contests. Yeah, I don't play them. I just, I think they're fine. There's probably a lot of strategy. I've never really gotten into it. The last I checked, the prize pools weren't significant enough. Again, that's my personal preference because I'm not playing to be a professional, right? I'm playing for a lottery ticket, try to get edges, try to make life-changing money. Last time I saw the tiers did not produce that kind of stuff. So yes, I don't talk about tiers. I think the most popular will be balanced, Jim. So you get a lot of casuals this week in a Millionaire Maker week. The pricing is soft. Bryson is 9,000, JT's 9,000, Spieth's under 9,000. Like there's a lot of value there. So I imagine people are going to go with the balance build. Who are your fades? I created an entire video with my top 5 fades for this week. Go check it out. Okay, Patton Kizzire came up. He came up earlier in the Slack chat because I originally had him priced, or his projected ceiling was really high. And I want to pull him up here because, was it Kizzire? Yeah, it had to be Kizzire. He's a weird guy. He is showing a hair of upside here. So here we go. In just his last 10 starts or so, he has 3 finishes with 100 plus DraftKings points, which not a lot of the guys in his range can say, John. So I think he's what we call like a popper, a guy who's just going to pop up. He's going to score oftentimes, 50 DraftKings points, and then a couple of times he's going to score you 100 and something. His ceiling is probably higher than most. Can't lay anyone. Yeah. Cantley's awesome. He's awesome. Werenski seems to be in good form as of late. He sure does. Do the metrics back that up? Well, one way to find out. Let's pull him up. Let's go with Richie Werenski. Here's Richie. He has made 5 cuts in a row. He's made 6 of 7. I like to see that he's gaining off the tee most weeks. He must have figured something out here, right? He misses the cut at the RSM, and then he has 5 weeks off before he gets to the Tournament of Champions. And since then, he's been great off the tee. I think he clearly figured something out, or at least the metrics would tell you that, right? Then you add in the fact that he has been a sporadic hit or miss ball striker. He's been okay at times, but better recently. Rolling the rock. Yeah, Richie's been good. This is a good trend, Bobby. I don't mind this at all. It seems like he found something here in 2020. I'm all good. Was Sawgrass where Chubbs lost his hand to a gator? Good question. It was definitely in a lake. I don't think it was Sawgrass because they weren't, at that point, Happy wasn't on the tour yet, right? He was playing the mini tours. He was trying to work his way up. He was playing a lot of those smaller events. I don't know. I don't think it was Sawgrass. It could have been, though. Excuse me. Some are saying course history doesn't matter, and others saying it does. I stand on course fit matters, and that course history has historically been volatile. I mean, that's not really my opinion. Like, if you run the numbers for this compared to other courses, the consistency score, for lack of a better term, would be much lower. It's not a very consistent results oriented course, so it's not as much my opinion as it is the correlation. I know this doesn't talk about match play, but I'm gonna have to release a video on match play soon, because match play is coming up shortly, and it's going to be, that is the biggest edge that we get on a yearly basis, because like 35% of the lineups are going to be built incorrectly. People are going to pick things from same quadrant, same group. Like, yeah, that's going to be awesome. I've answered a lot of these, which is good. So I'm going to scroll through a couple of these here. What do you make of Brooks Koepka now? Right knee before left knee. Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if it's good that he didn't re-injure the knee that he's had so much issues with, or that it's like, oh no, now he's got two bad knees. I have no idea. I hate to try to guess on the injury stuff, because these guys never tell us anything and they don't have to, but I'm concerned. I love Louis, right? I love going back to Louis for the 10% of people who got absolutely scorched by Louis last week and he didn't hit a shot. I love going back to that. I think it's great. Here's a Siwoo question. There is a lot of debate on Siwoo this week. I have said I've faded him. Pat Mayo, of course, is making the argument for him. There is the case to be made about him playing well at Pete Dye courses. I get it all. I could be very wrong. I'm just not going to have a lot of exposure to Siwoo Kim this week. Here's what I see. All right, we can play the Siwoo game. While we're here, let's play. And you guys make your own decision, right? Like, that's the whole point. You guys make your own decision about what to do with Siwoo. Here's what I see from Siwoo. Here was his win, American Express. And before that, he was really good. He was gaining on approach nearly every single week. He was phenomenal off the tee. The putter was even cooperating. That win was almost foreshadowed. Look at what he's doing now. 4 out of 5 missed cuts. One of them's a withdrawal. A 50th in the other start. Horrible off the tee. Horrible on approach. Doesn't have the putter working. If you go and look at just like the last 12 or so rounds for everybody in this field, Siwoo Kim's one of the worst players in this field. Then you go back and you say, okay, well, what did he do before other wins? Well, it hasn't been as good as that previous win, but here's his win at Valero, which he, at least the week before, was a great ball striker, and then he won. Here's his win at the Wyndham, which at least the week before, he was a great ball striker and he won. I think he at least foreshadows it a bit more than we want to believe. So for those reasons, I'm out on Siwoo. Excuse me. Why is Zach Johnson flying under the radar? I imagine because he lost like 6 strokes on approach last week. It's pretty ugly. I've answered a lot of these, which is good. Yeah, this might be the best streak of all time. Phil out of the top 100 for the first time in 28 years. It might never be broken. That's the longevity's unbelievable. No, Adam Scott does indeed have elite level course history. He's been phenomenal here. I would go with Homa. Homa's playing 8 weeks in a row, and I think he's going to play next week too. So, wait, is he going to play next week too? Why did I think he's going to play next week? I don't know, but he's been great, and he could have easily packed it in, and he didn't. Chris, yeah, we'll go play. I haven't played as much since I got out here, but I want to go play this Paiute, I think it's called. I'm getting a lot of good recommendations for Paiute. All right, we've got about 10 minutes here. I'm going to run through a lot of these here. Was there an aesthetics update to the website? There's always aesthetic updates to the website, right? I'm constantly making changes. But yes, I did go through a rather large revamp, I guess at the start of 2021. And I'm always trying to improve things. So thank you very much. Grandma pizza is amazing. You guys, I'm starving. You guys are killing me here. Let's see. Thoughts on Xander? Yeah, I think I mentioned him at the top. He might be the guy that unlocks everything, right? Because of the drop off from Brooks, I think he might be the guy that unlocks anything. Anything you would change today on the custom model for the week? I would lean a bit heavier on strokes gained total. I would lean a bit heavier on birdie or better. Let's just do it. All right, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. This is a beta version of the new custom model that's coming to RickRunGood.com. So bear with me if anything goes awry here. But here's what I would do. I would probably put 35 on strokes gained off the tee. I would probably put 30 on birdie or better. Those are the two that I really want. I'm going to only put about 15 more on total, strokes gained total, because I understand that also encompasses strokes gained off the tee. There is a heck of a lot of sand at Sawgrass. We'll put 10 there, and then we'll put 10 on approach and 5 on tee to green. And I understand that I'm double counting some of these, but for the sake of this, and I never do this because I don't like sharing lineups. And I don't think it's great, but I'm going to build a lineup here and just see what comes out. I'm looking through the values. Bryson, Morikawa, Berger, Neiman, Zalatoris, Grillo. If that lineup wins the Millie and like 1,100 of you split it, you guys owe me. You have to take me to play golf somewhere. I never show lineups like that. In fact, I don't like it at all. But yeah, that's the way that I would build a lineup, Kevin. Okay, so we talked about Fleetwood earlier. So go back, Jason, and check it out. I'm less optimistic on Fleetwood now than I was like an hour ago as we were talking through this. How good were you in college? I'm like a leadoff hitter, man. I'm like the money ball. I was the money ball guy, right? Like, don't swing until you get 2 strikes. I led the nation in walks one year. That was my game. It wasn't sexy. Not concerned about the amount of golf any of these guys have played, especially Victor Hovland. He's young. He plays golf all the time. If he's still playing, I don't mind it at all. My other guys in the $200 single entry last week, it was, oh boy, Rory, Casey, Zalatoris, Johnson. Oh, Connors. And Connors was the last one. And Danny Lee. That was the lineup from last week. I think that Bryson will share his alternate routes. Yeah, because I think he can't help himself. Or just do it. Yeah, maybe he'll just do it. Could you create a page that lists what type of ball shape a player has? So I get this question a lot. This is probably up there with the wind question that I get. I've started to compile this. It's really not as like great as you think it is. You know, a lot of guys can work it both ways. Maybe someday I will. I'm really not as big on it as others are. Top player that I think will get cut. This always backfires. I swear this always backfires. I will say, oh God, this always backfires. DJ? I mean, right? Like all of these guys are so good and are going to make the cut. DJ is the 80, 80, 78 win guy, right? Like that has to make sense that he's more volatile than some of these other ones. And if he's going to lose 10 strokes putting again or 5 in 2 rounds, like he did at the workday, which I don't think is going to happen. But if he does, like that would be the path for him to miss the cut. So that will certainly backfire on me. But, Connors or Ortiz, last man in. Connors. The Herminator actually was like 4 under through round 1 last year. So if you want to go look up guys that had success last year and you think that might be a correlator to success this year, he was there. When do you look at DraftKings points? I look at them a lot. I mean, listen, when I'm building line, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes we make is not looking at fantasy points. I made a video about that on Saturday. If you want to go check it out, because it's our currency, right? It's what we're playing in. It's what we're trying to achieve. So I look at it a lot. Can you make a custom model based on date range? Yes. Or you can make it based on the last X number of rounds, whatever you want. I'm not going to do it, but does the Masters have their own shot link data, or does it release it, or does it not exist? I believe they have it. I don't think it doesn't exist, because if you go to like their app and stuff, it'll tell you 279 yards, right, to the fairway. It'll tell you. So I'm pretty sure they have it and they don't release it, or they don't share it with the PGA Tour or anybody else. Highest owned in one and done will be Cantlay. No, Cantlay might have been used already. Justin Thomas, Rory, one of those guys. Yeah, the Flex Seal check didn't come in this week. We're back to the regular water glass. Food recommendations. I've not been in Vegas long enough to give a good food recommendation, Kyle, but if you're going to watch March Madness, everybody loves Legacy Stadium as a place. That new Circa Sportsbook looks awesome. I understand there's good food there. I've not been there yet, but I would definitely check that out. I've answered a lot of these, so I'm going to just roll through. Why do they shout 4? What's that all about? I don't know. It's not the number. It's FORE. I don't know. I don't know if they would say something else. I'm at the end of the chat here. I've got 4 minutes if we just want to do whatever, or I can end it. Do you think Keegan Bradley is a good play at only 6,900? I think he's an okay play. I'm afraid we got a ceiling week last week. But he's a great ball striker. It's the same combination as all of these other team no puck guys. So I think he's an okay play. I don't think he's a great play. What else? Are we done? What else, boys and girls? What else we got here? I've got a couple minutes if you want it. I'm also very hungry. I could just go. There was a lot of questions about Brian Harman. Let's do this. Let's just do Brian Harman real quick. Let's do him on the Holy Grail. You stay long enough, you get the Brian Harman talk. I've not looked at Brian Harman this week. Here's what I see. Wow, pretty volatile. Wow. 43rd at the Genesis, terrible ball striking week. The week before that, he was awesome. Terrible putting week. The week before that, bad ball striking. The week before that, awesome. This is unbelievable. This guy's an every other week kind of guy. This is amazing. I guess this week then we're getting good ball striking Brian Harman. I don't even know what I see here. I see a lot of inconsistency. I see the inability to put 2 consecutive weeks together in the same skill sets. This is shocking, because this is nothing like the stretch where he had here at the end of 2020, where he was just piling up top 40s. I'd be a little bit worried about that. Brian Harmony. Oh, of course, now all the questions come in. All right, let's see. Kirk, 14%. Yeah, I know. That's crazy, right? I did not see that coming. Circa is amazing and must win in Vegas. That's good to know. I can't wait to get there. What's for lunch? I don't know. These guys are talking about pizza a lot. It's going to be tough. Thanks for your time, Rick. Yes, thank you. All good. My wife says she's on the Spieth. That's not my wife. My wife says she's on the Spieth train. There you go. There's the pick of the week. Guys, much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed it. There is another live chat tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, same spot. It'll be Jock Market related. On your way out, hit the like button. That's all I ask. Much appreciated. Good luck this week. It's going to be a ton of fun. Set your alarms. We're going to talk about every shot live. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. I don't know what else I have to say. Follow me on Twitter, @RickRunGood. Good luck. See ya.